Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Bava Metzia. We are up to Perek Vav Mishnah Chet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbaev Eliyahu ben Burchai Israelov Chana bat Miriam Sason ben Rai and Yoshua ben Shifra Menuchatam began Eden Amen and Avdi ben Chaim Lechaim with the Refuah Shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa Betoch Shah Chole Israel and Achlama Merav Binyamin Od Sion Chai ben Dvorah. This Mishnah discusses another law related to Shomrim. Hama'avir chavid makom lemakom ushvara. If someone was moving his friend's barrel from place to place and he tripped and broke it, ben shomer chinam, ben shomer sachar, whether he was an unpaid shomer, meaning he was not paid to move the barrel, or a paid shomer, he was paid to move the barrel, yishava, he swears that he did not cause the barrel to break and he is exempt from paying for it. Now, assuming that the Tana Kama means that the shomer swears that he was not negligent in guarding the barrel, and he is then exempt, Rabbi Eliezer responds. But first, the commentators explain, the usual case where shomer swears an oath and is then exempt from paying is the case of an unpaid shomer who is exempt from paying for damage that is not the result of his negligence, as long as he swears that he was indeed not negligent in guarding the object. Rabbi Eliezer assumed that when the Tana Kama said that the shomer swears and is thereby exempt, he referred to the usual oath, meaning an oath that he was not negligent. So Rabbi Eliezer responds, Rabbi Eliezer says, I too heard from my teachers that ze v'zeh shava, both an unpaid shomer and a paid shomer swear and are then exempt from paying for the barrel. V'tameh ani im yichulin ze v'zeh lishava. However, I wonder how both these shomrim can be exempt simply by swearing that they were not negligent. After all, a paid shomer is obligated to pay for damage, even if it is not the result of his negligence, unless it is unavoidable, and tripping is not unavoidable. And even if he had been walking on a flat path, the shomer was indeed negligent, since he should have been more careful not to trip. In that case, even an unpaid shomer should be obligated to pay. In fact, the Tana Kama never meant that the shomer should swear that he was not negligent in guarding the barrel, since as Rabbi Eliezer argued, based on the regular rules of Shomrim, a shomer who trips and breaks a barrel should not be exempt simply by swearing that he was not negligent. What the Tana Kama meant was that the shomer swears that he did not break the barrel deliberately, and he is then exempt based on a special rabbinic exemption that applies to carrying barrels. Since it's very common for barrels to break while being moved, the sages were concerned that if the regular rules of Shomrim applied, no one would ever agree to move a barrel for fear that he would have to pay for it in case of an accident. They therefore ruled that if any shomer breaks a barrel while moving it, he is exempt from paying as long as he swears he did not break it deliberately. And that is then of Perek Vav Mishnah Chet. We continue now with Perek Zayin Mishnah Aleph. A person who hires a worker for a day's labor can set the terms of employment, for example, working hours, wages, etc., as he wishes, as long as the worker agrees to those terms before he begins working. This Mishnah discusses how the terms are decided if nothing is specified when the worker is hired. If someone hires workers without specifying what their work hours will be, and he later tells them to come to work early in the morning or to continue working late at night. A standard work day is from sunrise to sunset, as the Gemara says in Bava Metzia, page 83b. This employer tells his workers to start work before sunrise and continue after sunset. If they're in a place where workers are not accustomed to come early or stay late, and the employer cannot force them to do so, since he did not specify the work hours when he hired them, he must follow the local custom and cannot demand that they work longer than what is usual in that place. Other matters that depend on the local custom, makom shenagu lazun, in a place where employers are accustomed to give their workers food, yazun, the employer must give them food. Lesapek bitmika, if it is customary to also supply workers with relish to dip their food in. Lesapek bimtika, he must supply relish as well. Hakol kiminhag medina, in general, everything that was not specified when the workers were hired must be done according to local custom. Now, the Gemara on page 86a in Bava Metzia states that the following clause is missing from the Mishnah and must be inserted, where it is customary to give workers food. If the employer tells them explicitly that he will give them food, it is assumed that he means to promise them more food than is usually given to workers, Otherwise, there would be no reason for him to promise food, since local custom requires him to give it regardless. The following story illustrates this law. It once happened that Rabbi Yochanan ben Metzia said to his son, go out and hire workers for us. The son went and hired workers, and although it was the local custom to provide workers with food, he nevertheless promised explicitly to give them food. When he came back to his father said to him, my son, even if you will prepare for the workers a meal like the feast of King Solomon in his time, you will not have fulfilled your obligation to them. By promising food, you obligated yourself to give them more than what is usually given to workers. Even if you give them a kingly feast, they can claim that they deserve better. Since they are the children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and they can claim they deserve a banquet as lavish as the one served by their forefather Avraham. The Gemara on page 86b explains that the feast served by Avraham to the three angels described in the book of Bereshit, chapter 18, verses 6 through 8, was even more lavish than the royal feast served by King Solomon, described in the book of Kings, book 1, chapter 5, verses 2 and 3. Rabbi Yochanan instructed his son what to tell the workers. Rather, Rabbi Yochanan told his son, before they start work, go out and tell them, you are being hired on the condition that you have no claim against me for anything other than bread and beans. This way they will not be able to demand more than this simple meal. Even though this simple meal is presumably less than what was usually given to workers by local custom, if an employer stipulates to give the workers such a meal, he does not have to give them any more. This condition must be made before the workers start their work, because at that point they have only a verbal agreement with their employer, and the details of such an agreement can be changed. Once they begin their work, though, the terms can no longer be changed. A different opinion, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says, Lo hayat tzarich lomar, Rabbi Yochanan's son did not have to say anything to clarify the terms of employment, hakol ki minhag hamedina, because everything is done according to local custom. Even though he promised the workers food, he does not have to give them more than what workers are customarily given in that place. According to Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, when an employer is required to feed his workers by local custom, and nevertheless promises them food, he does not mean to promise them extra food, he is simply pledging to keep the local custom. And the Rav tells us, V'alacha ki Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, the Halacha does follow the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. And that is on the Botai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.